That in and of itself is a moment of heroism, and that's something that's lacking a lot of the times, because there's such a perfect dichotomy between good and evil. You very rarely see the grayscale, or the person who goes, man, this person's a bastard, but I can't let him die. And that, and honestly, I think most of us in that situation, no matter how hurt we are, no matter how imperiled we are, some of us, I want to say all of us, you know, the time can only test that, but we would still go out of our way to help each other. And I think the same needs to be done with mental health too. So that question was one, and now we're at 2:30. Do we want to? Was there any questions any of you guys wanted to ask before I have audience members?
I want to hear from you guys.
That's kind of what I'm digging too.
So just a couple things to keep in mind. Feel free to come up here. Try, if you have a question, ask a question. If you have a long comment, forewarn us. But just remember, there's probably going to be people behind you, and everybody wants to have that opportunity. But feel free to line on up. If not, then I'll find a way to ramble.
I'll make Aaron come to you if you guys are uncomfortable.
Yeah, if you don't want to get up, I can come to you.
While you guys are lining up, I really quick wanted to mention something too. You talked about, like, they mess with fandom, they mess with the media series and stuff like that, use of Star Wars. And people get so upset, it's like, oh, you're not the guy, you're not David Bowie from Labyrinth, he wore the codpiece on the right side of his nutsack, you know, it's like,
so David Bowie is Labyrinth. So.
Well, we get so upset, and it's because we've used it to define ourselves to the point where we think it's ours. And that's something I always try to encourage people about, things I've found that help me, is when you see somebody who's wearing their codpiece wrong, or their Deadpool isn't quite right or whatever, and they're not going for the I'm funny, but like they're really trying and it's messed up, don't be upset, because it's not yours and it's not mine, it's ours. And that's the greatest strength of nerddom, is finding this common place where we all live. And that's the greatest strength of mental health issues, is the realization that you're not alone. Not just that there's other crazy people out there, but that there are tons of people out there who will help and support you, because you're a part of the world, and you're a part of people's lives, and you have intrinsic value as a human. Yes, I'm being stern about this. It's important. Remember that none of this is yours, it's ours, and that's so much cooler.
Yay.
Oh, wait, I don't think it's on. It should just be a power switch. There you
No, we still don't have it.
I talk loud.
go. How about
Oh, that works.
For the moment.
Okay, my question, or the question for you guys is, the panel title is Strengthen Our Limitations. And I understand that with your limitations, it takes great strength to do what you guys do. But how has your limitation helped you, if it has at all? Has it helped you, your art, your craft?
Oh, I'm jumping in right first. I'm taking that one. Thank you for that question. For me, actually, it brought me into different kinds of art. Studying disability first kind of helped with that. But one of the first challenges I took is I was taking aerial dance at the time, doing silks and things, right? This was before partial paralysis on the right side of my body. And I had to kind of come up with a scenario where this would have been harder, and so I came up with this amputee scenario. And I started kind of studying, like, all right, how would you overcome? And through that, I actually got to the point where I could have better conversations about it, where I was able to talk to people in places of power about it. It's something that's led me to Media Bless You, to be able to do more interviews, to be able to do new panels, to be able to travel even. It's been really interesting. One of the things that I'm doing with the website that I mentioned at the beginning, we're on Explorador, my two eldest children have severe mental health issues. And because of that, they cannot do traditional public school. We tried that. That was pretty ugly. When people up at UNI know you by your face, that it gets ugly. Don't go there. It gives you the possession of a knowledge that other people don't have. And even physically, there are certain things that I'm able to experience for myself and think, boy, that was a rotten day going through Disney World and being able to hobble all over and thinking I should have rented a scooter. But then when my friend says, hey, I kind of really want to go to Disneyland before my degeneration gets worse. What do you think? I have the power to step up and say, hey, here's what I did, here's what worked, and here's what was absolutely awful. So even your worst experiences, you can twist that around and use that for the positive. And if you have a different perspective than other people, if you have a situation that is truly unique, by all means, use that. Get your voice out there, because I guarantee you're not truly alone, and somebody is waiting to hear from you.
Any other answers before?
Just quickly, everything that is perceived as a negative in society that I have is a positive to me. So.
Writing 100% saved my life.
Yeah, for me, my ADHD has helped me deal with a lot of stuff that normally it keeps my depression from letting me be in that dark place where I'm hiding from everybody. I still get it, but eventually I get stir crazy. I'm like, screw it, I gotta face this. Let's go. Doesn't always work that way because the anxiety kicks in, but still. But it's helped, and yeah, without going into my own personal struggles overall, it's very easy to find that if you kind of dig deep sometimes. But it's all up to the individual.
So I'm just wondering, what can I do as a creator, both as a writer and I've been trying to get into game design lately, which is a much more interactive medium. What can I do as a creator, both from the audience being in an observer standpoint and in an interactive standpoint, to help people understand and connect with characters with mental health issues?
Okay, so I'll grab this one since this is my primary gig. First of all, and I do write horror, and a lot of my villains do have mental health issues, because let's face it, if you're cutting a piece of somebody's arm off and laughing and making dinner out of it, there's probably something wrong with you. And one of the things to remember when you're talking about bad guys is they're all good. Everybody acts rationally within their own framework. Even, and I know I'm not talking about like a real medical diagnosis, but schizophrenics, they're acting rationally from the perspective of there's things happening in their brain and there's a response to that. And so if you treat your characters as all the heroes of their own story, and not like, I'm the hero, but like, hey, the world's gonna be better after I kill all the Jewish people, which is Adolf Hitler. And he was a messed up cat and deeply evil, but in his head he wasn't. And so that's one thing to do. And the other thing I tell all creators is, if you really want people to connect with your characters, you have to connect with people. And that doesn't mean you go out and stand on top of mountains and yell at passersby. But every single person you encounter, you find something that you adore about that person as fast as you can. And number one, that's going to open up your world a lot, because like, I'm going to go sit in my closet for a day or two after I'm done with this, with Comic-Con. For real, I have a bed in there and I won't come out. And the only reason I can handle it is I go, I'm going to see this person, and he is such a good artist. I'm going to see this person, he's so funny. And it doesn't have to be, they're all my best friends, but I can find something awesome about everybody. And even, Adolf Hitler, messed up guy, he was tenacious. And again, not going to be friends with him. But you know what I mean? You find something you love about everybody, and that's going to reflect itself in your work. And the better a human you are, the more interesting your characters are going to be.
Any other?
Be honest with yourself and reach out to people. If you reach out to communities, interview people if they're up for it, get personal experiences from people. That would be my suggestion.
With that, be very careful about an interview with somebody is not 20 pointed questions. Just be personable about it. I also want to say, as far as video game design, because that's actually one of my other things. That's one of the things I've been doing panels on for too long. I am getting old. It's fun. Check out Overwatch, and specifically watch how Blizzard released information on Symmetra. That's a big deal. So Symmetra is a character. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Overwatch or Symmetra. Any Overwatch players in here at all? Okay, I got a few. All right, cool. So Symmetra,
This lady in the back, she's like,
yes.
I think that's her daughter.
love it.
It is. So Symmetra's gun does not have to be aimed. This is actually kind of a big deal. She focuses on the central area and she places turrets, and the way that her gun moves, if you're within range, you will be caught by the beam. This is specific for people with autism, and it helps a lot because the coordination issues that sometimes accompany make it very difficult to do specific minute tasks. Blizzard never came out and said, hey, we're releasing this totally cool game Overwatch, and this character has autism. They did not do that, and I deeply respect them for that. They did not use it as a marketing ploy. What they did is when a fan approached them and said, hey, I have autism, and I'm noticing really direct similarities with myself and this character. Was this character designed for the autism community? Does she have autism? And they're like, actually, yes. We didn't want to make a big deal about it, but yeah, that's awesome. And the fact that myself and my daughter, who has autism, kind of automatically gravitated towards that character anyway, it gave us that reassurance of, hey, it is everywhere. It is involved.
And the one thing, I give up. Just not loud enough.
Want to steal one of these?
No, it's fine. I can project my voice. Don't use it as a gimmick.
Yes.
That's really kind of the big thing. Don't make that their defining trait, because a lot of times people will say, oh, I'm bipolar. You're not bipolar. You're an individual who has bipolar disorder. There's a difference. You are not your mental health disorder. So even if it gives you strength, even if you're trying to do it in a positive way, just remember there's an individual first before the mental health. So, do you want next one? Thank you.
Yeah, let's blow through these a little quicker.